Hello, this is Mad Mumzie. Thank you so much for joining me on episode 67 of the Beers with a Minor podcast. This is an audio blog and it is something that I recorded after, or during actually, having a conversation on social media via text, which, you know, hello, it's a conversation, with a lady who had just quit her job as a dump truck operator. This lady tried for a long time to get a start, and I have been mentoring her along the way, you know, as I like to do. I feel like they're my children because I'm old. But this message came out of the blue and she has quit. So with International Women's Day coming up, I thought I would swizzle up a quick video about it. So as we were going through the conversation, I was pacing around, talking into my iPhone and recording. The passion that came out of that recording, I have chosen to release as a podcast episode. It's a bit echoey because I was upstairs in an open plan area, and I really try not to do that and suggest that my guests never do it. Tiles and windows and open plan might look great, but they're crap for recording. However, I have chosen to release it anyway. I hope that this will get you thinking about crew culture and how we all get along or don't get along, and what our responsibilities are in the world, not just on crew, to speak up and to help people out and to stop people doing things we think they shouldn't be doing. It's a huge thing, and in the past couple of weeks there's been some horrendous domestic violence murders, and the whole country is breaking over those, and you will hear part of my thoughts on that as well towards the end. So I hope that my ramblings get you to think a little bit, and perhaps we can all work together to try to get along, watch out for each other than just safety, but yes, safety from each other, sadly, but also on site, you know, as we're working along. We always talk about that. But today, in this episode, I'm coming at it from respect, treating people right, and how women are here, women are on crew, deal with it, respect them, don't try and hit on them, just bloody work together, just work with each other. Anyway, there's that. I hope you enjoy this episode, number 67, an audio blog with Mad Mumzie. Welcome to the Biz with a Minor podcast. My name is Mad Mumzie, and I have been driving the huge dump trucks in open cut mines for over 10 years now. For years, I have been asked the same questions. How does a little thing like you drive those big trucks? Oh, you must be rich. How do I get a job doing that? Not everyone is cut out to be a miner, but why not? What is it really like, and what does it take to thrive and survive in this industry? This episode is an audio blog, just you and me. Now, let's dig in. Get it? Dig. Mining. Ha ha ha, crack me up. So, as a mentor to others, to women trying to get into the mining industry, one of the ladies that I've been helping finally got a start, and she's left. She wasn't there that long, and she left because of sexual harassment. And you see this when there's a bit of shit between the men and the women. They move some of them onto other crews. But what about the women who are on the crew where that one troublesome person has just gone to? Okay, fair enough. He might get on with all the other women okay, but he might not. And you're just shifting that problem around. From my experience and from this woman's experience, that person had been in the mines for only about a decade. You know, I'd like to think, I don't want to think anyone would be like it, but history kind of prevails that it's the old school miners, you know, the old fellas that, oh, women don't belong here and all of that. And then you end up winning their hearts and they become like your granddad. And a big part of what I say, a huge part of what I say is also to the men. For the men who are already out in the mines and, you know, they're aiming for half the crew to be women, 50-50. Depends where you work and what crew you're on, where you're at now. You probably feel like you're outnumbered because there's so many more of them. But that might only be 20%. A lot of the targets are 50. And what I said to this lady, which she said, is we need 50-50 and that'll fix it. Pretty much was what I heard on my first reading, but going back, that's not the overall, you know, gist of it. There's much more to it, but even if there's 50-50, that's still 50 men. If you're looking out of 100, that's still 50 men. So, you know, we need to change the attitude of the guys that are already there or that are going in that haven't even started yet. You know, we need to get them to think in a new way, a respectful way. It's 2020. It's the way of the world now. You just can't put shit on people anymore. You just can't. It's not how you do it. You can't put shit on race, people with disabilities, age, gender, right? I'm recording this. I've just got off the thread from this lady and I thought it could be a good podcast episode. One of the things I said to this lady was, because she's left, right? She tried for 3 years to get her dream job in the mines, finally got out there, loved it, told me she was kicking butt, had a couple of little moments, you know, with her trucks. And the digger driver got up her, but then he apologised later because I was saying to her, you know, did you cry? Because, you know, that's what Mad Mumzie did. And she didn't. And she was saying she was tough and talking it up, which is fair enough, good way to be if you're that way inclined. My suggestion was, you know, do something else, write, listen to music, you know, don't let it all be about that situation and what happened. And so, you know, don't let them get to you, mate. And she's like, no, I won't. And I hadn't heard from her for a couple of months. And then I just heard from her and she said she's left because of sexual harassment. I don't know all the details as I'm recording this, but she did say the guy, because I asked if she made a complaint, like, which is what you're meant to do, right? From what I've seen, from my experience, some men that are like that have women that think they're cool or that they're their mates or whatever, and they might see the new person coming in, especially if they look good. I don't even know what this lady looks good, and it shouldn't matter, right? You know, part of what I was going to say, and I still might say, is that, you know, half the time I look like crap, so no wonder I never got sexually harassed. But, you know, I did have the odd issue here and there over the years. Yeah, I just stood up for myself and never had to worry about it. But I did see other women and girls that came on crew that struggled. What I'm trying to go back to is that the guys who are already out there, a big part of what Mad Mumzie says is to think about when the women come on crew, how would you like the people on your crew or you, especially say you're the dozer driver or the digger driver or you think someone's hot or, you know, or someone's just a bit too, you know, not to whatever your standards are for across all areas, you know. Maybe they're just like, no one can be 100%, no one can act and be exactly 100%, this is good, no one can act and be exactly 100% as you would like them to be. Take your nose out of their freaking business, keep it in your own business and get on with your job. You know, let everyone do their thing. Dun, 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 dun. So what I say to them is, if that person, that girl, that woman, that lady, that chick, that Sheila, whatever you want to call them, that mole, that whore, that slut, that cow, you know, putting it out there, that's what happens. That's what some people are getting called. And then if they take it to the next level, that lagger, that dog, you know, that cocksucker. Sad, but it's true, and it happens. And I'm very sad to hear that it's still happening, because it shouldn't be. And so what I'm trying to get at is that you're about to speak to a woman, a girl, a person, a blah, blah, in a manner, or you're watching someone else talk to them like that. Turn your own mindset around to be, what if that was my daughter? And that F and C is talking to her like that, you know? If you heard her being spoken to or treated like that in the street or at her work, if she worked in a cafe or something, or at the hairdressers, you'd go down there and you'd want to knock them out. So when we're on site, we need to pull each other up. Hang on a minute, mate. That's not called for. No need for that. Let's go, move on. And if it's you who's listening to this, and perhaps you speak like this to people at times, not all the time, occasionally it slips out, you didn't mean it, you know. Stop it in its tracks when you feel it coming into your bones. But when you feel it building up in you, if they're in the wrong spot or they've got too much makeup on, or they got too much perfume on, or they're whatever it is that you don't like, they don't want to go and have a beer with you. You know, this lady is married, and from what, I haven't read the whole thing yet, but from what I can gather, she was getting hit on. It wasn't just getting told off for not being in the wrong spot or anything, and that's a big part of it. It's got to be respect. Treat everyone on your crew as a crew person, and look out for each other and pull people up. You know, you young people out there are going to change the world, going to stop climate change and do all the things. Well, how about you do something about stopping bullying, domestic violence, discrimination? Don't see a real lot about that. It's all about the animals and the planet. What about the people, you know? I'm sure there are some people, young people watching this who go, hang on a minute, I've got a movement about something. Hit me up in the comments. I want to know. Because it comes from all of us. We have to teach our kids, our boys. And this comes from the dads. We need your help to teach your young boys, don't bully your sister. But it's not just don't bully your sister. It's why, or don't bully anyone. You don't do that. No need to be hitting the wall. Come on, mate. Let's go for a walk instead, eh? Let's do something different. 2 women very close to me have had to deal with domestic violence, and every time we see something on the news, it just takes us straight back there. Over angry men, and we don't need to see it in the workforce. Putting it out there. And now hearing this from someone on a work site who was trying so hard to get this job took me straight back there. It might not be domestic violence, but it's still being treated like a piece of crap by a man. We don't need to be treated like a piece of crap by anybody, man or woman. You know what I mean? It's just fucking bullshit. So we'll see what else she had to say, and there's that. Now for a word from our sponsor, Julia Hartman and the Bantax Accounting Group. Julia's my awesome accountant. She's written 2 books with financial expert Noel Whittaker, and she's got a passion to help us miners make the most out of our hard-earned cash. She's got heaps of tips and make sure that we get every cent we are meant to get, and is right on the ball with everything. If you head to bantax.com.au/miners, that's BANTACS, you can download a free booklet all just for us miners. And there's also a spreadsheet in there that helps you check off what tools you have for your trade, like your isolation lock, work boots, 7 shirts, all of these sorts of things, and you can weigh them up and it'll tell you if you qualify weight-wise to claim your trips out to work. And that's just one of the things that they've got over there. So I strongly urge you to head to bantax.com.au/miners and see what they can do and find your nearest office as we come up to tax time. They're really on the ball, know what's going on with the tax department, and there's heaps of other free information like property investing. If you really plan on doing some great things with your money, you want to do that, right? If you want to sell your house, can save a lot of money if you find out what to do first rather than in hindsight. And Julia, she'll, make sure you get it right. And if you do it wrong and then go and see her, she'll up you in the nicest possible way, because she really cares about us and wants us to keep our money and not give it to the tax department. Anyway, head over to bantax.com.au/miners and tell them Mad Mumzie sent you. So we had a bit more of a chat on our thread on social media, and she's gone back to her old job where she can just be nice and appreciated for her positive attitude, and she thinks that's what got targeted on. She went out there and just, was her nice, happy-go-lucky, positive self. And I really resonated with her because that's how I thought I was and how I like to be and how I now am again. And if you're like that, you need to know that if you go out to the mines, sadly, it's not appreciated at times. You could also be like my sister, Hard Hat Mentor, and just be the crazy, happy, nice, positive one anyway, singing at the crib up and stuff. So what if they think you're crazy? They might stay away from you. Anyway, this lady has gone back to her profession. She is a professional. She hasn't come from what a lot of the guys always say when you're looking in the social media groups. Oh, go back to Macca's, or go back to the hairdresser, or go back to the bar. She's a professional, done uni, been working in this career for a while, and was absolutely horrified at what a lack of support that she got from when it gets to management level, and that's when it can fall down. Not saying this is all sites, and this could be from any mine site in Australia, could be the world, but I deal with Australia. And so if you're in HR, if you're in management, here's a little heads up, hey, things need to change. Don't just swizzle them off to another crew and split them up like they're little school kids. There needs to be more done. People can't keep harassing people like that. And I did say to her, so leaving you thought was the easiest option rather than staying and fighting it? And she said yes. And she also is struggling with the fact that what's he going to maybe inflict on someone else? Which, that's a big struggle to have to deal with. But as the women listening, you might be the one that goes out there that stands up and goes all the way through. Like, I have seen women go the opposite and go through the whole sexual harassment over a couple of little words said. Don't be, it's hard to say, there's lines. And clearly this man has been below the line. A hard hat mentor will like that conversation, because there's lots of philosophies about that. We all need have above the line thinking, and a huge part of this and what we're doing and how we all need to start interacting with each other, we need to have that above the line thinking. So she's gone back to her old profession, and it has inspired her. She tried it. You know, I guess one of the episodes that I released was 5 newbies I know and why they quit, and now there's 6. And I might add this even to that episode. So look after each other, watch out for each other, have respect, and, you know, let's, on this International Women's Day 2020, hope that in 2021 and for the rest of 2020 and for the rest of our lives, you know, there's no more of this bullshit. Let's just all freaking get along. You know, watch out for each other. Have a support system around you. I was very happy to hear that she did have that. Her immediate supervisors were quite supportive, but, you know, you got change crews. And I see this over and over again. We'll just split everyone up. That'll fix it, you know. There's got to be more than that. I guess that's what the whole point of this recording is about, is me talking it through more than anything. But I also think there's got to be more than that. I know there's procedures in place and you take it to this level and that level, but if you are listening and you're at management level or HR, take it a bit more serious, hey? And these are people. A bit of education for the people that are doing the sexual harassment or the discrimination or whatever it is. You know, this goes across the board. This is looking after the people in your workplace and the people on your crew. Like, we can all try our best to get along. We're actually in the pit, at the crew bar, in the mess, in the light vehicles, on the bus. You know, we can all try and do our best to get along that way. But management level, HR, all the procedures, all the things, you know, you have your PowerPoint presentations, you can't do this, you can't do that, right? Everyone sign that bit of paper that says you've watched this video, righto, tick, 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 tick on the computer, you're all good. But when something actually happens, whatever's happening in a lot of instances doesn't seem to be working because it's not changing the behaviour of the person. Not saying it never does and it never has, but I know of some people that have actually been sacked because of it. So that's not changing a behaviour really, is it? That's just like, all right, off you go, which isn't, I'm not saying that's a bad thing if they're breaking the procedures and they're harassing people. Out the gate, mate. Piss off, fuck off. I'll say it, fuck off, fork off. But where they're going to go, they'll get a job somewhere else. They're a digger driver, they're a shovelly, you know. They got the experience, so they'll just go and start somewhere else, and so it all begins again. We need to stop the cycles, and we need to all see what we can do to try to make it happen. Okay, I just listened back to that first section and I think I will release this as a podcast because I've got my action boots on and I can get it done. It's it's Tuesday night. I'm going to get it out by Friday morning. I'll just edit my ramblings and I'm going to share this as a podcast. I do believe it will be episode 67. So all the show notes can be found at madmumzie.com/beers67. Look after your mates, hey? That's my call to action for the end of this podcast. Look out for each other, girls and boys. If you see something going down, anything, if something's going down, have some balls, go in there and say, hey, mate, nah, that's enough. No need to say that. I don't give a fuck if he's been saying it for 10 years. If everyone knows that's how he is, something's got to change, right? And it starts now from listening to this very podcast. Thank you. Cheers.